Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title of this video, today we're gonna do a story time. I'm kind of nervous about this because I've never done a story time video, and I know they can be like either really entertaining or like really annoying or really boring, and I don't know. Hopefully it's something good. Don't bump my tripod, Oscar. I have all the dogs in my room today, so we'll find out if that's a good idea or not. So basically, I'm just going to start from the beginning. This past Thanksgiving, my sister and I drove up to visit our mom for Thanksgiving in Georgia. My sister has a lot of highway anxiety or like just driving anxiety in general. So I did most of the driving. I actually drove the entire way to Georgia myself. Yeah, I drove, how long is that? Like 8 hours? Yeah. On the way home from Georgia a couple of days later, I really was just tired, and I was like a little bit in a food coma from like the day before, which was Thanksgiving, so I was sleepy because turkey makes you sleepy. And yeah, I couldn't really see myself driving the whole way back. So I was like, hey Rachel, at some point I'm gonna need you to take over because I don't want to fall asleep at the wheel. Thanks, sis. So she was really like on the fence about it. She really didn't want to, and she was nervous about not knowing how to drive my car, which makes no sense because it's a car. On the way to Georgia, my car had been doing some really weird things, like the battery light would come on, but I have a relatively new battery, and I knew that my battery wasn't dying. Like the battery light would just like flash every now and then, like it wouldn't stay on. And then like there was another light on my dashboard. I don't even remember what it was. The whole way to Georgia, we were like kind of nervous, like what is up with my car? What's going on? So my sister was Googling stuff on her phone the whole way, which was like making me even more nervous. And she was like, yeah, it says like your alternator could go out. It says this and that. And I was like, I'm broke. I don't have money. Like hopefully that doesn't happen. So when we got to Georgia, we went to AutoZone and we had them do a diagnostic on my car, and they told me that my battery was fine, that my alternator was giving off exactly how much charge it was supposed to give off. They literally guaranteed me that my car was fine. Like, after I went there, I felt pretty good because AutoZone is supposed to freaking know things about autos. Yeah, and they didn't. I don't really know if this had anything to do with it, but we had been using the charge port in my car to charge our phones. I was like, okay, well, if the battery is dying, maybe we shouldn't use, the battery so much. So we stopped charging our phones, but my sister's really bad with directions, and we'll get into that later, but I'm like okay with directions. I'm not the best, but I'm like okay, like I can usually figure stuff out. But when you're driving 8 hours, like you want directions, like you want a map. You don't want to just trust that you know where you're going. So we needed the maps, but our phones were dying, so we would like use one person's phone for the maps for a little while and then turn that phone off and then use the other person's phone, and we were just kind of going back and forth. And we had gotten to a point where, I don't know, it was like 7 p.m. or something, and it said, no, it was like 5 p.m. and it said we were going to be home by 8:30. So I was like, okay, well, we're going to be on this road for like 300 miles anyway, so I'm just going to turn off the maps and we'll just save the battery on our phones. At that point, we pulled over to get gas, and I got out of the car, and my sister took the driver's seat. My sister decided to, at that point, she was going to drive the rest of the way home because we only had like a couple hours left. This is what makes me so upset, is that I didn't notice what was happening. Basically, I'm sure you guys know this, when you're driving on like a interstate, when you're driving on an interstate, you can either get on the north end of the interstate or the south end of the interstate. After my sister had been driving for about 30 minutes or so, I started seeing all of these signs for cities, like exits, and they had names of cities on them. I kept seeing signs for Macon, and I kept seeing signs for like Valdosta was another one. And I'm like thinking to myself, and I'm like, those aren't in Florida. Like, that's weird. But I don't know, highways are weird to me. I don't really understand that much about the highway, so I was like, I'm sure it's fine, whatever. So we keep driving, and my sister's been driving for about 2 hours now. I'm just realizing like, okay, I should be seeing signs for like home by now. Like I should be seeing signs for cities that we know. I just got the feeling that we were like in the middle of nowhere. So I turned my maps back on. And the estimated arrival time for home says 10:45. 10:45 p.m. when originally, hours ago, we were supposed to be home by 8:30. So I'm like, why did the arrival time for home like go so far? Like, we only stopped to get gas for like 10 minutes. Like, it wouldn't have put us back that far. And honestly, I guess we're both idiots. Like, I don't know why it was so hard to figure this out. But eventually, I was like, dude, pull over. And she's like, what? And I'm like, find an exit and like pull over. And we realized that what my sister had done, my anxiety-filled, directionally challenged sister had done, is that when we left the gas station hours ago, when we traded driving positions and she left the gas station, she got on the north ramp and drove 2.5 hours back into Georgia. And that was wild to figure out. Okay, so sorry if the camera angle or the lighting is different. My camera stopped recording during that last bit. But basically, I think where I left off was when we realized that we had been going the wrong direction. So basically what happened from there was we were like, okay, we need to pull over, we need to turn around and get on the south ramp and go south towards home. So we are like looking for an exit, but when you like pass exit signs, it'll tell you like what's at the exit. And all of the exits we were passing had nothing. Like, not a McDonald's, not like a Wawa, like nothing. Like, there was no gas stations, no restaurants, no anything. So we're like, okay, like we don't want to pull off in the middle of nowhere because that's creepy and our phones are dying. So eventually we just do it anyway. We just pull over onto an exit that doesn't have anything. And when I say that this exit didn't have anything, I mean it didn't have anything but a dirt road. We literally pull off onto this exit in Macon, Georgia, and we're driving down this dirt road and we're listening to Google Maps and she's telling us to drive down this scary, sketchy dirt road. So we're doing it and we drive, and eventually we were able to get back onto the highway. My sister drove for like a few more minutes until we saw an exit that did have some civilization, and then I took the wheel and I drove the rest of the way home. Like I said, my car had been having troubles on the way there, so as we're driving home, we're having issues with like different lights popping up on my dashboard. And I don't know really anything about cars, so I couldn't tell you what lights were popping up, honestly. Like, I don't know what the lights mean. But as we're driving further and further, by like the peak of this experience, every light on my dashboard was on. So I knew something was wrong, for sure. So like slowly, one at a time, different lights are showing up on my dashboard like every couple minutes. The lights that are on my radio that tell me like the time in the radio station were like flashing and flickering, and all the lights started flickering. My headlights started going really dim. And it's like pitch black outside, and we're like one of the only cars on the road. So I'm like freaking out because I'm driving, but I have to stay calm because my sister has really bad anxiety and I didn't want her to freak out. So I'm like inside like freaking out, but like outwardly just like, okay, it's gonna be fine. But eventually everything, all the lights in my car, everything electrical just starts flickering, 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 and then it shuts off. And I just hear my engine like really quietly just like pushing me along. And we're just driving and all the lights in my car are off. The like lock buttons in my car don't even work. Anything electrical in my car completely stopped working at that moment. I tried to turn my overhead lights on, they don't turn on. I tried to turn the radio on, it wouldn't turn on. So my sister's like, pull over, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna pull over on the side of the highway in the middle of nowhere when it's pitch black and we have no lights and no phones. Like, I'm not gonna do that. So I keep driving until we see an exit. And I pull off into the exit and I pull over into a Pilot gas station. I didn't think about like needing to pull into an actual parking spot at the gas station. I was just thinking like, let's get off the road because your car's about to explode. I don't know. So I just pulled into the general parking area, like not in a spot, not in front of like a fueling station, just in the parking lot. And I take the keys out of my car and we just like take a second to like calm down. We try to start my car up again and it just like, nothing happens. Like, I put the key in the ignition and just literally nothing happens. It doesn't like jump or anything. Like, the car just does not turn on. It does not react. It does not care. It's dead. So we go into the gas station and we talk to the manager of the gas station trying to figure out what we should do, because we were hours from home and my roadside assistance doesn't reach that far typically. Like, you have to pay a fee for them to come get you like farther away. Like, the roadside assistance is only for like a 15-mile radius or something. It's something like ridiculously small, and I should pay for better insurance, but I don't. So anyway, we talked to the manager of the gas station, and she literally tells us, like, to our faces, as we're, like, stressed out, anxiety-ridden, like, tired, sleepy young girls, probably were crying, I don't even remember, and she's just like, if you don't move your car to a parking spot within 2 hours, you will be towed. And we're like, okay, but our car's dead, so we can't move it. And she's like, 2 hours or you will be towed. And we're like, okay, but we can't move my car because it's dead. What should we do? And she's like, yeah, in 2 hours, if your car is still on the property, you'll be towed to the nearest auto shop. And we're like, what is that? And she's like, I don't know. She didn't know. She made, like, this whole, like, stressful experience, like, that much worse by not being understanding of the fact that we were, like, two young girls, like, scared and broken down car, no money, no phones, you know? So my sister, like, charges her phone in the gas station for a little while. We call my dad, we bring him up to speed on what's going on, and then we call my insurance. And my insurance, I don't even remember how we ended up getting this worked out, because they told us that they couldn't send somebody out to how far away we were, but what they ended up doing for me was calling, like, a private contractor in the area that I was, which was, like, Ocala, Dunellen area. They ended up calling, like, a private contractor in that area to come and tow my car, I guess. But what he did when he got there was, he was like, okay, well, if I tow you, like, no auto shop is open right now, so I can't really do that. What do you want me to do? So there was a Hampton Inn and Suites across the street from the gas station that we were staying at. So basically what he did was he put this big blue box, like this electrical box, and he hooked it up to my car, and it made my car start. And I was like, oh great, like my car's fixed. And he's like, no, it's only gonna work with that thing on it, and I need it back, it's fine. So with the blue box hooked up to my car, we drove my car to the Hampton Inn and Suites, and he followed us. He was really nice, he didn't have to do that, but he did. And so we ended up getting a room at the hotel, which was like $114 a night, and like neither of us had money, and my sister had to put it on her credit card, which I felt really bad for. So we did that, and we ended up staying the night there, and in the morning we had to get my car towed again. We had to call my insurance again and get my car towed to like another auto shop in the area. And so it took like several hours for them to fix my car. And with hotels, like as you guys probably know, you have to check out by a certain time, and it's usually like 10 a.m. So they didn't get my car till like 10 a.m. Our thinking was that we would ride to the auto shop with whoever towed the car, but he only had room for one of us in his truck, so we couldn't do that. So we had to wait at like a McDonald's that was right by the Hampton Inn and Suites, and we had to wait there until my car was done being fixed. I guess if I had known anything about cars, I would have known that the alternator is what it was. The alternator died, but I didn't know anything. So they were like, yeah, your alternator died, and it's gonna be like 500 bucks, which my dad helped me with, and my mom did too. Thanks, guys. Basically from there, we were luckily able to just pick up my car and drive it home, and everything was fine. But let me just tell you that that whole night was like so stressful and so scary, because we didn't have like adults with us. I mean, okay, I'm an adult, she's an adult. We didn't feel like adults in this situation because we were just very scared and didn't know what to do, and it was very a stressful situation. So I feel like I didn't really give you guys like a round ending. There's a blue jay outside my window. I'm a weirdo. Okay. That's pretty much it. From there, we picked up my car, we drove it home, and I haven't had any issues with my car since then, which is awesome. Alright, so if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're into that, and I will see you in my next video, hopefully. Alright, bye! I hate everything about this video so far. That's a good place to start. Did one of you poop? Or fart? Taya, I know it was you. Dog farts are literally the worst. Where is I need coffee. Taya, what are you doing? You chewed a hole in my pillow? Taya! Oh my god. She ripped a hole in my blanket too. I hate animals. I love them.
Give me your heart, give me your song, sing it with